Hello and welcome to the Bard Odyssey. We're here at the table, and in case you haven't watched the most recent episode, let me introduce my friends to the left, none other than Luke and Jake Pallisard, who are playing respectively Ramone and Randy Pallibard. The Pallibard brothers have joined on across the table with Caedmon and Elhorre, but wait, that's not Elhorre. That's Beecher playing himself as Olin.
No, bro, what?
Yes.
The old switcheroo.
Yes. Now, allow me to explain. So, Beecher, after sundering your party and sending everyone in separate directions with their separate quests, you yourself headed off to a remote temple to find out some truth based on the revelations of your patron. And while there, you discovered that when the great sundering of Arakazine happened and the island continent of New Wolf Otmai was born, that most of the people who were on that chunk of the continent, when it was sundered and lifted up through the air, died, naturally. But there were a handful of survivors. Now, over the course of centuries, most of those survivors have died off, either from different causes or lifespan, natural causes, that kind of stuff. But what you have discovered is that there are a small group, you didn't get an exact number, but less than 10, fewer than 10, who have survived and may in fact still be alive. But probably what disturbed you the most and what sent you running swiftly to find your comrades, Elhorre and Caedmon, was that you believe that at least one of these surviving people might be the blonde elf who you were working against.
Blonde-haired Finoop?
Yes, blonde-haired Finoop. And maybe even more frighteningly, that blonde-haired Finoop might have other allies who are ancients who have survived and who remember the land before it was sundered.
Oh, wait, we banished them.
Yeah, we did banish them, Bill.
Yes. But that's what concerns you, is that while you feel like that blonde elf might be banished, he may have other allies, other ancients, like him, who remember the land before it was sundered.
More Finoops?
You don't know, but you know, based on what you
All
found,
named Finoop.
you know based on what you found that these would have to be people, first of all, whose races have longevity so that they could be several thousand years old, which certainly an elf could qualify for, or who have sustained their life through magical means, who have extended their lifespan magically, which would require great levels of magic. So you've discovered this, and your concern is that the very seat of power from which this kind of secret consortium might be operating could very well be in the great kingdom of Malakun, which you know to your last correspondence with Caedmon and Elhorre was in fact where they were headed.
Wait, is Malakun the archmage, the mage?
The Magocracy is the Mantirum.
Oh, the Mantirum.
So on the western side of the continent is the great kingdom of Malakun. And it is probably, without argument, the wealthiest and most powerful. They certainly have the largest military, and they probably have the most money. And it's the oldest of all the kingdoms on New Wolf Otmai. And you would know this without even making a history roll. The leader of the great kingdom of Malakun is a high elf, whose name is Tertingi Malakuni.
Also known as Finoop?
Well, it is possible. Remember that your Finoop, dark curly-haired Finoop, suggested to you guys before that great encounter that he thought that blonde elf Finoop might in fact be just an alias for none other than Tertingi Malakuni. But then you banished both of them, so you have no way of confirming that. But nonetheless, based on what you found out, you are very concerned that Caedmon and Elhorre and their new comrades, who you have yet to meet face to face, might be stumbling into a trap.
And wait.
So you're making your way furiously to the capital city. in the hope that when you arrive in Malak, you would be able to find Caedmon and Elhorre. With that in mind, you use one of the silver tokens, the silver little skull statuettes that you received from your patron.
Who has
And
the book? Sorry,
You
really
do.
quick. I have the book.
Yes,
Okay.
you have the
Well,
book.
yeah, I remember the book. I can
Um,
read
The
it.
book. He can read the
You
book.
can read it. You have the
can
black
read it.
orb. You have the book. Mantra has the artifact. So you guys separated those things on purpose. And you know that Caedmon and Elhorre were going to the capital to do research to find the crystal of air. The concern that you have, however, is that they could be walking into a trap. So you're making your way furiously towards them. When you get within range, and you're still like a day out from where they're at, you use the magic in the small token, and you're able to contact Elhorre, who you inform very briefly through the magic that you're able to send of your concern, and she says that she's going to follow up on it and make sure that everybody's okay until you get there. So
I
that's
still have
where you are.
Jaquan, right? He's still.
Yes,
still on with me?
Jaquan is
Okay,
with you.
yes.
You were on a horse racing to the capital city of Malakun. You're racing to Malak, and you're like one day out.
Is his long hair like flowing
Flapping in the wind. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just want to make sure.
Exactly.
There's
The
no
horse
spell
is-
preventing
You're going to
it.
ride this horse till it dies. You're like all the way in. So
Game
you're
on. Then I'll
you're
revive
racing
it.
across the countryside. Meanwhile, in the capital, Caedmon, where we left off, you recall that you had adopted a halfling scholarly persona,
Right.
which you had given the name of Markifor. And you encountered, in the Great Library, you encountered Professor Lemoyne, who was an older elf male.
We hit it off.
Yeah, he wore the white robes, but the difference was that he had the red collar and sash. So you identified him as like, the most important, which your assertion was correct. And after your successful deception roll, he believed that you were a scholarly envoy from,
And a big deal.
yes,
Which is
from
important.
Poitex Shahar. And he said that he would find one of his assistants to help you with your research. So as you were waiting, you were approached by, in fact, another one of the assistants, who was a blonde half-elf of extraordinary beauty. You interacted briefly with her, and she led you to believe that she knew who you were, and then point-blank referred to you as Caedmon. At which point you were confused because you couldn't recall who this was. And then she revealed that she, in fact, was Maxine.
And she's the healer, right? That's why we have to get her.
She is a scholar and a healer, yes.
And a lover.
And that is
love
where,
her.
well,
Most importantly.
you'll find out about that.
No, because remember from
That's
the
a
playful
guarantee.
banter at the show, we were like, wait, we both dated a Maxine? Is it the same Maxine? And then they played
Could
the
be.
song.
It could be.
So,
could be.
Caedmon, I don't even
But the
think I have to
question
make
is,
like a
would you
wisdom
refer
roll.
to her as a lover or a heartbreaker? That's what we're going to find out. Now, we pick up where we
Guess
left
we
off.
Willie's got me there.
We pick up where we
Maybe
left
that's why
off.
I'm like
You were in the library with Maxine, and so she motions for you to come over to. There's like an antechamber, like periodically, like every 30 feet throughout this great library are these kind of small study rooms that are kind of located off on each side. So she motions for you to come over
Study
to one of the
room.
study rooms. And once in there, she like leans over to you and she's like, "So, why are you really here? You're really there to do research."
I'm really here to
on-
do research
on Vem,
on Vam,
the goddess of wind.
the goddess of wind.
She's like, well, she's like, that's very curious. A lot of people have been in here recently doing research on Vem. In fact, Professor Lemoyne is currently researching the mythology of Vem. Are you here on someone's behalf or just on your own interests?
Wait, so hold on. Meta moment.
Yes, meta moment.
So, because it's been a hot minute, Vem, why are we looking for Vem? Is it scribbled somewhere?
Vem
in,
is
like,
the goddess
my-
of wind,
Okay.
and you are in search of the crystal,
the map.
the air
Sorry.
crystal. However,
Right.
no one knows its location. So basically,
So we're
you're,
trying
you're
to
doing
find them?
research on the mythology of the goddess of wind because you are trying to find out where that air crystal is. However, you do remember Olin warning all of you before he broke the party apart not to trust anyone and not to tell anyone what you're specifically looking for.
It's like, okay. So I'll jump back into the game here. It's like, he seems to be, why not? He's such a popular, interesting god. She is such a popular, interesting god. Why not do research? Why is Lemoyne doing research? By curious question.
I don't know. I did assist him in pulling together several volumes of books and a few maps, but he hasn't really indicated to any of us specifically what he's doing. I could try to find out if he's doing the research for his own edification or if he's working on someone's behalf.
I mean, that'd be cool if you could, but like, if you can't, like, I'm not worried about it. So, it's whatever you feel like doing. But if by chance you wanted to go and look into it for me, that'd be pretty cool.
You haven't been to Malakun recently, have you?
No.
You should know that there are laws against performances.
Yeah, we ran into that issue.
We? Who do you mean?
Well,
are you with people?
No, I've developed a multi-personality disorder. And so when I refer to we, it means Caedmon and also Caedmon, who is my alter ego. I'm Caedmon right now, but if I were to switch on
Professor Lemoyne referred to you as Markophore.
That is another of my many personalities.
Roll deception.
Watch me get like a 2. Give me the cup. 17, baby, plus, where's my deception?
23.
23. Okay. She's
like,
fooled.
Oh, Caedmon, maybe you should lay off those gnomish herbs and mushrooms. Well, I'm glad that all of you are doing okay.
One of me is not, but
why don't we meet up after my shift here is finished? Is there a place where you're staying, or have you been in town long?
No, I've actually just arrived. It probably would be better if we did it at your place.
How about this? There's a comfortable, cozy tavern called the Horny Toad, and perhaps we can meet up there.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll see you at the Horny Toad.
Very well.
Thank you. In the meantime, is there any literature you could find me on the subject of them?
She looks out of the archway from the study room and like looks at that table where Professor Lemoyne had all of his stuff laid out. She's like, well, I think the professor might be having lunch. So if you're careful, I suppose you can go browse around on what's in his table. Most of the materials related to the mythology of Vem would probably be over there.
Cool, I'm gonna do that.
Just don't steal anything, Caedmon.
Why? Because I'm a gnome?
No, because you're
Wow,
you.
no, okay, no, I get it. Because I'm a gnome, we steal things.
I'll see what I can find out.
Thank you. I'll try to keep my little gnome hands off stealing.
As she's walking out the antechamber door, she turns back and she's like, hey, you wouldn't have happened to have seen Randy or Ramone recently, have you?
Ramone, was he the one with the hair? Or did he...
They both have hair.
You know, I meet so many people with hair every day. It's so different. Really, the only people I can remember are the people without hair. Those are the strongest
She
species.
rolls her eyes and shakes her head, and she's like, I'll see you later this evening.
At the Horny Toad.
Yeah.
Cool.
She walks out.
I walk sneakily over like a gnome.
Okay.
That stereotype holds up. And
Okay. So you see this table. There's a bench there, so you could step up onto the bench in order to reach everything that's on the table. And you see, like I said before, there are maps, there are books. It's not like every book is like them. Some of the books are just general history books. Some are religious-based books, and Some of them are
Tabloids.
they look more like illustrated, kind of like storybooks, like fables, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
But there are also maps. What you don't see is the professor's personal journal. He must have taken that with him.
Okay.
It was a leather-bound, like thick leather-bound journal, and you notice like his quill and his ink is there, but he must have taken his journal.
So I want to jump right in here. I want to read the kids' books first.
Okay.
Like this is just the basic fable, right?
Okay. So here's what I'm gonna have you do: make an investigation check. This is basically gonna summarize your ability to quickly kind of look through the material and find useful information.
Okay. And I'm cool with him catching me too, because I have a really good excuse.
Okay.
19.
Wow.
Oh my god. Plus investigate, that plus 3, so that's 22.
Okay. You start like skimming through everything really quickly, and you're like looking through. First, you look through the fables and stuff, and you see some of the children's. I don't want to say children's books because they didn't really have children's books, but there's more like, let's say that like they were books that were written for more like common folk. So there's less words and more pictures. But you notice one of the pictures shows Vem, this picture of like a beautiful, like kind of human-looking woman, and like every picture you see of Vem, there's like flowing robes, as if there's always wind like flowing her robes, and her hair is always like flowing out.
Mm-hmm.
But you notice one of them where she's like, looks like she's like either levitating or flying, and there's like a mountain in the background, just one mountain in the background. And as you're kind of skimming through, you notice that there are references to, in the early days, like in a few of the more religious scholarly books, you find out that in the early days, there were temples to Vem that were built all around New Ofotmai, and frequently the temples to Vem tended to be either really tall towers, or they tended to be built on hills or on mountains. Basically, like they were always kind of higher up.
Okay.
Now,
can I find anything?
What's interesting to you is that like a lot of the continent is basically flatland or like rolling hills.
Except
So
for
in
that
your-
one weird like monster place with all the mountains,
well, in
right?
the middle of the continent, which like most people just call it the vast, because it's just a vast wasteland. There are hills and mountains, actually. It's a whole bunch of mountains. But you don't know that, like, there are no kingdoms
Wait a
that
minute.
claim that land. And
Wait a minute.
people don't commonly live in the vast.
So to jump way, way, way back to like the 3rd episode of whatever the last season was, do you remember the door we went in the little dungeon area?
Yes.
It had wind,
Yes.
right?
Oh yeah. I remember what you're talking about.
We'll make a note of that.
Well, that was like you have to look up at the ceiling and
Wind
then
door.
the door opens or something.
Yeah, but there was something with wind
Yes.
about it, right?
Yeah.
That was the main part of that door, right?
There were magical, like illuminated, like mural work on the ceiling, and when you breathed on it, it activated the rune on the door that opened the door. And that was basically clouds. It
So
was
can-
like clouds that were.
So
pictured
through the
above you.
literature, can I find any reference to what that singular mountain in the picture behind her flying could be?
You feel like if you had a chance to explore this more, you might be able to figure out what that is.
Okay.
You don't know necessarily that it's like a real place because it's in kind
That's
of like
true.
a fairy tale book. But
Okay.
it just jumped out at you because the way it was pictured looked like it was done in a very like realistic way.
Okay.
Like she was flying up to this mountain.
Oh, he has a map on that table.
Yes.
The professor. Do I notice any locations circled?
You do.
Okay.
In fact, you
Oh, take the map.
you notice that there are a number of locations, like not pinned, but like where he's like left little scraps of parchment with like numbers. But there's nothing on the table that correlates to the numbers. So imagine you're looking at a map and he has like random pieces of paper that's like 1, 7, 14, 8, 3, 6, and they're all kind of like, the numbers don't, it's not like they like add up in a linear way, but there's numbers all over, but there's nothing on the table that signifies what those numbers mean.
What I struggle with this game is that like there's so many cool magical powers, except for like if I needed an iPhone, which would like solve this
take a
entire
picture.
situation. I
Yeah.
would just like, how good am I at like drawing? Can I draw this map quickly with the
You
places
just write
like
down the
circle?
numbers
You-
and all the
I
locations.
feel like the
could.
numbers aren't. Can I just do
Remember
that?
it
Sure.
real good.
So I'm going to say that you're going to start in your own journal. You're going to start like sketching out the map, and then you're going to kind of start sketching out the spots on the map.
Okay.
This is going to take a little bit of time.
Okay.
And during that time, one of the librarian helpers, not Maxine and not the
Okay.
professor, but one of the other white robe, gold sash, gold collar people comes over.
Oh, I'm so ready for this.
And they're like, excuse me, sir, is there something I can help you with? This is the professor's.
Yeah, actually, you can't. What's your name?
My name is Jaheim.
Jaheim?
I'm one of the acolytes here.
Now,
may I
okay,
help you?
Jaheim, I'm going to stop you right there. All right, I'm sure you were told in probably a memo or something, but I'm a very important professor. I was actually here doing research, and I noticed that these tables were not halfling height, which is, as you know,
Oh my god.
extremely illegal.
He like looks shocked and he's like, I'm
Oh, I'm sure you're very confused. I was just making note on the tables and possibly any other racist behavior that could be happening within. And now that I see that you're implying that I'm stealing or taking something, I'm a very important professor, sir, and this is not halfling height.
Right.
And I will have this place obliterated.
So here's what you're gonna do. This is intimidation.
Oh, wait,
You will make
intimidation is so low. Make it performance.
Nope.
Come on. Persuasion. Make
Nope.
it persuasion. I'm persuading
This
these
is
racists.
intimidation.
This is not
It
intimidation.
is. So what's your intimidation
threat, dude.
bonus?
You're gonna
Low.
cancel
It's
it.
bad. Intimidation, I have +4. Okay, that's not the
bad at
worst.
all.
No, that's not terrible.
Okay.
I've rolled really well, and I know that it's coming. I know that the 4 is like
Looming.
18, 22.
Wow. All right. So he's like, he's like beside himself. He's like, please, sir. He's like, I apologize to you. It's my fault. Please allow me. I will go get one of our. We do have tables. I am sorry.
That are halfling height?
Yes, sir. I will. Please. This was set for the height of Professor Lemoyne, sir. I will be happy to bring. Just give me 5 moments, and I will bring one of our tables for the small folk.
I'm not angry. I'm very disappointed.
I please. My apologies. I will be right back. He leaves. You
Starts
notice, like,
crying.
as he's leaving, he like snaps a finger at like another person, and they like run off like a storage room. All right. So
Okay, so
meanwhile,
I book. Wait, am I done?
This buys you the time to finish. So basically, what you do is you finish sketching out the map. You pinpoint all the places where he had marks, and you write down the numbers adjacent to them, even though you don't know what they mean. You get a basic copy of that. You finish your notes. You close up your book. As you are leaving, well, first of all, do you take the map or do you leave it?
I leave the map.
Okay.
But I've written like
Yeah.
extensively.
You
on it,
for the
right?
time that you had, you did like a decent sketch of that. You leave. No one questions you. No one bothers you. You make it out the main.
course.
You make it out the main door. Do you?
Wait, where's the door handle on the door?
There is no door handle. It's the gates to the
Good.
library are always
Good.
open.
That's up to standards.
So you leave, and you make your way circuitously back to the inn where the brothers are and Elhorre. And that's where we'll pause for you. You guys, the whole plan went through. You guys got him disguised. Elhorre said, like, within minutes of him leaving, you notice that she pulls out this like silver kind of like skull, little like skull token, and she like looks at it and she closes her eyes, and for like 30 seconds she's just zoned out, and then she like snaps out of it. She's like, I have to go. I'll be right back. Olin is coming. He's on our side.
Oh.
If Caedmon gets back, just tell him that I'll be back. Meet me. You guys should all meet me back here I'll bring Olin into the city. I know a way to smuggle him in. So she leaves. Meanwhile, you guys are by yourselves. So you have time to yourselves where you can go out and about because you figure he'll be gone for a while at the library. So what would you guys like to do? And you know that like one of the missions that you need to do is kind of find out more about the goddess Vem, the goddess of wind.
But we're still wanted men, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, what do wanted men do?
What do wanted men do?
Let's go get some drinks.
I'm down.
Okay. So you guys kind of get your stuff. Now, you could stay and drink at the inn because there's a tavern below. Or you could leave the inn where you guys are staying and go somewhere else.
Let's go somewhere else.
Are you trying to go somewhere else?
Out in the town.
Okay.
Randy and Ramone.
Okay. So you guys leave. You walk out. Don't seem to have any problems. It's a busy day in the city. So there's plenty of people walking the streets. You can blend in pretty well. Humans are fairly common. Obviously, elves, half-elves, humans are the predominant races. You do find it interesting that as you're walking through the streets, you don't see a lot of the other races, like Dragonborn, Tieflings, cat people, like Elhorre. So you find that kind of interesting. You don't see a lot of dwarves. You don't see
Small tables.
you don't see
No,
forest
none of
gnomes.
that.
You do see some halflings, but you don't see forest gnomes
Okay.
or rock gnomes. So that's kind of your first impression as you're like walking through the streets daytime. About every block, there's a different inn or tavern that's open, and there's even like a few like open air kind of plazas where people gather. And you notice at one of them, you actually see like there's like little like farmers market stands, basically like little tents and stuff set up where people are selling different things. You smell like food and stuff. You hear people talking. And at one of them, you notice there's like a little stage, not like makeshift, like an actual pavilion stage, but no one's doing anything on it.
Resist.
Both of you make perception rolls. So get out your D20, make a perception roll.
15.
20.
Natural 20 and a 15, both good enough.
All right.
You guys notice as you're kind of coming up on this
Put this in the middle.
on this area, you notice that there's a youngish human woman. She looks like she's maybe in her 20s with kind of like tan skin, slender, but bright, like flaming red hair, but tan skin.
Okay.
And you notice she's wearing like a lot of like silks, like very vibrant colored silks, like a performer. And you notice she's like kind of like walking towards that stage area.
Okay.
And you notice she kind of has like a distant look in her eyes, like she kind of like walks over almost like she's in a trance, and she steps up onto the stage. Nobody really notices anything, but you guys see this, and you notice that she like sets down this small case, like this leather case, and she opens it up, and she grabs some things in there, and she's got like these little like finger symbols, like for like, you know what I'm talking about? And she's like,
Okay.
and she's got that and stuff, and she grabs like a tambourine and stuff, and she ties the tambourine around her sash at her hips, and then she kind of just does like a little bump with her hips, and it makes like the tambourine go. Then she does it again, kind of pops her hips. And then she starts like kind of like swirling around and like clicking, and she begins to make like a beat basically between like the tambourine at her hips and the fingers, like. And she reaches into her little thing and pulls out like a little drum, and it's got like a piece of rope and a little thing on it, and she puts that on her other hip, and she pops that hip, and it's almost like a little drum sound. So she begins like moving, and basically what she's doing is dancing now. And as she's dancing, she's creating her own rhythm between the drum and the tambourine and the little finger mini symbol things. And she starts dancing, and people at this point now, like once it becomes music and dancing, you notice like people are like looking up, and you get the vibe that like probably half the people in the crowd are like, oh, awesome, and the other half are like, oh, some bad things are gonna go down.
Yeah.
She's doing a naughty thing. Like, so you kind of get this vibe where like the crowd, some of the crowd like approaches and they're like smiling and like watching her dance, and then like other people are like looking around for like guards. So what do you do?
Oh,
What do we do?
let's look around for guards real
Let's
quick.
definitely
See
look
what's
around.
going down.
So
Big
first,
time.
you guys kind of like, you're watching her, but you're also like circling around the plaza, and there's like a fountain, and there's like shopkeepers and stuff. And I'm not gonna make you roll again because your initial rolls were really good. So you like look around, and you're like, no guards in the area. Like you look down the streets in each direction. It's kind of like an 8 corners thing where like this middle area is like this plaza with the fountain and the stage and shopkeepers and stuff, and then there's streets that go off in different directions. But you kind of like climb up on the rim of the fountain and look over the crowd. You don't really see any guards in any direction. So about this time, after taking a couple minutes to scope it out, she like finishes her first piece, and like a lot of people start clapping, and some people throw like copper into her bag, and a couple people even throw silver into her bag. And then she kind of like reaches down into her big bag again and pulls out like a little lute, and she starts like tuning it and listening. And again, she still has this like distant look in her eyes, and she like looks up to the sky, and she looks out across the crowd, but like not at anyone, just kind of like across the crowd. And as she's tuning, the tuning becomes a song, and she's like, now she's dancing and moving while she's tuning. So she's got like the drum, and you guys recognize this song. It's like a common folk song that's like kind of known throughout the land. And it's soulful, and you're like, wait, we know this song. And so she starts
Jam.
like strumming along. Yeah. And you
think
guys
we're-
figure you could easily pick up the tune, and you know the lyrics to it. And it's kind of like a traveler's song about like returning from a journey and coming home and coming back to a city.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to get in on this jam
I
because there's
suppose
no
so.
guards.
This
So
old folk.
She's
tune.
going hard right now.
go up to the hippie lady.
So you guys kind of make your way over, and she sees you, and she sees that you have instruments, and she like, as she's playing, she smiles and she nods and like gestures for you guys to come up.
All right, let's jam.
Hopping on up.
Hopping on. 2, 3. Right.
Well, I came back early one morning after a long night away, just to find a note on my door, say it's time to move out today. I started racking my mind, I just need more time. You see, some people got money in their pockets, but me, I have only a dime. You know it ain't fair that you treat me this way. You know it ain't fair, so I'm leaving today. Well, I'm going to the city, and I've learned to sing the blues. There ain't nothing but hard times, you know things ain't right on my avenue. Well, I'm going to the city, and I'm gonna start over brand new. There ain't nothing but hard times, you know things ain't right on my avenue. Well, I talked to Nelson, he brings me the news. He said tomorrow it might not come, but today's just been renewed. Tell me, isn't that funny? You know, isn't that cute? 'Cause I'd give it all away for just one more day. Isn't that what love makes you do? You know it ain't fair start over brand new. There ain't nothing but hard times, you know things ain't right on my avenue. Yeah, I said I'm going to the city. Yeah, to the city. Ooh, to the city. Oh, to the city.
Yes. The crowd might erupt into applause. But first, we'll have to know you get to roll with advantage because performance.
16.
A 16. So, well, 15 plus your perform roll, which is 7.
7.
So 22. More than sufficient. You see the redheaded lady is has like a gentle smile, and she kind of flips her hair back. You notice that like on one side of her face there's like a scar across her cheek, but she smiles at you guys and nods. And like the crowd unanimously applauds. Like people applause. There's coins get thrown up on the stage. You guys look around, and you notice she's like smiling at you, and then she looks over your shoulders, and she's like, starts packing up her stuff. You guys turn around and look, and you see like a half block down, there's like 3 guards like walking, not running, like walking towards the plaza. She's quickly like scooping up all this stuff. Hasn't said a word. Just like scooping up, puts all the stuff in her bag, slings the bag over her shoulders, and then she smiles and she hands you a piece of paper, and she steps off the stage and into the crowd.
All right, well,
Let's have
we should-
ourselves an escape.
Yeah, let's skedaddle right quick.
All right, so you guys kind of make your way off the stage, going in a very different direction from where you saw the guards coming. You sling your stuff, pull your cloaks over so nobody can see your instruments, and you make it. You make it out of the plaza.
Right on.
And as you're walking down a different street, kind of heading away from that plaza, you look at the piece of paper, and it's like a business card, but on a scrap of paper. So it's got like this calligraphy S and this calligraphy M. And then it has a symbol on it. And the symbol looks like an eagle flying over a moon.
Oh, that's pretty weird. Never seen that before.
Yeah, what's it for?
Can we roll to see if we've seen that
You,
before?
you can, yeah. I'll let you make a history check.
All right, let's
Both
history
of us?
check it. Both?
Sure.
All right.
2. Well, great.
Both.
You
Right.
both roll 2s?
Yeah.
That's
what
awesome.
that is.
You're like, I don't know what that is, man.
Never seen that before.
Now,
That's crazy.
as traveling musicians, though, you do know that sometimes, asking around discreetly is a way to find out about things. But you do see after walking a couple blocks to make sure that you're far enough away from like the main thoroughfare, you find like a cozy little bar. So you guys go in.
Wait, what's the name of the bar?
The name of the bar is the Sweaty Stone.
Oh, thank God.
Sounds
I
like
just
a
want to make
classy
sure we
place.
didn't all end up in the same
The
place.
Sweaty Balls. No, it's the Sweaty Stone.
The sweaty ball.
So,
It's like a
and
ball.
actually, there's like a small boulder outside of this, and you notice it's got like a divot, and it looks like that's where like rainwater collects. And so it's got like a nice front porch and like very open windows and stuff. It's a nice day. You guys see that there are like a fair amount of people in there, enough to where like you wouldn't be noticed. And you grab a table kind of like inside off to the corner.
All right, so say we grab a table, wait till it gets a little more casual in there, then we should just approach somebody.
How do we
In
know
the bar.
who to approach, though?
Who's in the bar?
Well, so here's what you see. There's like a variety of different like travelers and stuff. Some of whom look like they might be staying in this inn, and other people who look like just commoners who are maybe working in the city and having their lunch break with an ale. But you notice that there's like a fair amount of people in there. Again, mostly human, elves, half elves, a couple halflings. And then the serving girl comes over to you and she's like, "Hey guys, are you hungry or just drinks?"
Just drinks.
Right? We have ale and mead or wine.
What are you getting,
I'll get a mead.
Ramone? You getting mean? Old style ale.
Okay. She's like, right. She comes back with a couple mugs, sets them down for you. She's like, "I'll be back." So you guys have frothy beers, and they're not cold, icy cold, but they're cold enough, and they're refreshing.
They're crisp.
They're
Good
crisp.
enough.
You notice that there's like a guy who walks in who's, and this is fairly common in a larger city, who has like a pack and he's like selling things. He's like just a street vendor and he's selling different things and he's going table to table.
Oh, he definitely knows.
Most
Yeah,
people,
that guy's gonna know. Right?
like most
He's on
people
that
aren't
end.
interested in his wares, but he like comes by and you notice he's like got like jewelry and most of it looks like kind of cheap and he pulls out different colored scarves and people are like, no. So then he gets over to you guys eventually. He's like, "Hello, my good gentlemen. Perhaps you're in the market for some jewelry." He's like, "I have some fine items for the ladies if you want to impress them. Some scarves. I do think I have some rings here." And he's digging through his bag. He's like, "Any interest?"
Oh,
How much is a scarf?
yeah, what do you think? The ring for the
He's
ladies,
like,
Ramone?
yes. Well, I do have these nice satins
Just get a
here.
thumb ring.
Ooh.
Purple,
Satin.
blue, green. I've got a red one here. Yes.
I'll
Maybe
have
like a
green
toe
one.
ring?
How much
Yes.
does it
He's
cost?
like, I can part with this one for 5 copper, sire, or a silver.
I'll give you a silver for
Oh,
that
excellent.
green.
He sets it down. He's like, "How about you, sir?
You know, sir, I don't think I want anything, but I was wondering.
How about a hat?"
You know
He's
what?
like, "Sir, I have some
Hat?
superb
A
hats."
hat could be good
You know
for
He,
you.
what? I
he
think I
reaches
need a
into
hat.
his other bag and he pulls out like a couple different hats. He's got like the floppy hats. He's got like the hat with the brim, like the wider brim ones. He's got, he's like, "What's your style, sir?" He's like,
Pointy.
"Perhaps a wider brim."
Get a
He's
pointy
like,
hat.
"I've got the pointy wizard style
Ooh.
brims."
The pointy model?
He pulls out some that are like the floopy, like, put your hair up in it kind of hats. I don't know,
Like
what,
a
what are those like
Rastaman
Rasta?
cap?
Yeah, like Rasta man caps.
Indiana Jones hat?
Yeah, he's got a
let me
couple
get
of
that
those.
Indiana Jones hat.
He's like, "Now
Really?
this one is true leather, sire. So I would have to give you, I'd have to ask for no less than 1 gold. But it is,
Oh,
as
man.
you see, it is fine."
All right, you know what? I'll take it. Take the Indiana Jones
Excellent.
hat.
He
Wow.
goes, "Sir, and would you like a feather with that?" He goes, "I do have several feathers."
I'll
yourself
take
a
feather
feather.
in the hat.
He's
know
like,
it.
"Are we looking for colorful or earth tone?" He's like, "I have black, brown.
Get yourself an earthy
I have a
feather.
white, brown."
The feather.
He's like, "This one is nice. It's a kind of a spotted."
feather.
That is a
He
cool
gives
thing.
you.
We got a
wanna see
nice
the
spot-
earthy
yeah,
feather.
He
spot.
goes, "That's on me. Thank you, gentlemen." So
You're too kind.
yes. So are you here in the capital for business, travel?
Oh, we're here for travel, but we're actually wondering if you'd ever seen this here symbol before.
You show him.
Shuffle him the thing across the table.
He looks at it and he's like, "Oh yes, used to be one of the finest inns in the capital until they banned music and performance.
Oh,
Rather unfortunate."
It's an
I believe they.
underground
I
music
DIY set.
Yes, it's
way.
unfortunately it was a beautiful building as well, but it's closed, completely boarded up. They had 3 infractions of performances, and eventually the Crown closed the building altogether. For a time, they had just closed the stage, and they were allowing them to rent rooms, but after the 3rd infraction, they were closed.
Can't have none of that
But
music. So.
it's a beautiful building, and I'm not sure if it's for sale. So if you're here for business, you might want to check it out.
Where's it at?
Well, it's he describes to you where in the city it's at.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. I say we leave and go there.
I'm gonna put on my scarf.
Yeah, I'm gonna put on my hat and
Yes.
feather.
It's a shame, really. It was such a fine establishment. Some of the finest musicians and performers used to play there, but unfortunately closed.
I bet this guy plays. Ask
Live
this man
Nation
if he
will do
plays.
that.
Oh, does this man play? Do you play an instrument?
I used to. Yes.
What do you play?
Well, I used to perform percussion, but
Oh,
my
percussionist.
my drums were confiscated, unfortunately, and I was fined very heavily.
Rats.
Just like
I do miss those days. I've thought about leaving the city and traveling to another kingdom, but where performance is not restricted. But I don't really have the means to cover the cost for travel, so I just try to sell what I can where I can now to make my living. But I appreciate you, gentlemen. Thank you. He
You as
nods.
well.
He walks away.
Good day, sir.
So you guys enjoy a few ales, and you figure it's been total with your wandering around the city and your performance and having some beers. You figure it's been a couple hours, and you might want to head back to the inn just to see if Caedmon's returned with any valuable information. So you make your way back through the city, taking a different route, and you get back to the inn. You kind of do the safety check as you're like walking around, make sure there's no constables in there, no guards. Make your way in, go up to your room. Right about that time, you are coming back,
Okay.
and you get back to the inn,
Okay.
and you notice the brothers are in the room. They seem to be doing well. So you get back to the inn, share what you've discovered.
Hello,
What have you
boys.
discovered?
I like your feather. Ramone.
Oh yeah,
Ramone, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You notice that
Ramone, I
Ramone
like
has
the
like this
scarf.
cool
Thank
green
you.
scarf now, like wrapped around his neck, and like Randy has this like leather hat with like a feather in it.
Reminds me of the olden days.
Oh yeah.
We're much more colorful. So remember Maxine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's like in town and she's got like a whole job and everything. It sounds like health insurance.
Oh,
So like
benefits? Nice.
she's doing pretty well. But Ramone, she inquired about you, old buddy,
Oh.
and she did not seem pleased.
Why not?
Something you did, I guess, my man. But
don't
she's
recall.
here. I'm gonna meet her tonight at the Horny Toad,
Ooh.
which is, of course, right across the street from the chastised frog.
Oh, of course.
And so, gosh, couldn't say chastised for a couple minutes there.
Creative liberty.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm running with it now. And so, I'm probably gonna head over there. Probably without you guys. If you see her around town, we don't know each other. Because she seems a little bit upset.
Sure,
at
she
you,
was
Ramone.
upset at me.
She was pretty teeved.
What did
it
she
seemed.
say?
She just went, have you seen Ramone or have you seen Randy or Ramone lately? And then she gave me one of those like stares where it's like, you better not have seen Ramone lately. And I was
Randy's
like,
Just
okay.
Randy's okay.
Randy's fine. Yeah.
Randy's always good.
I think they got along well, but not you, Ramone. You and that scarf of yours.
It's because of the scarf.
Stirring
Sorry,
up
man.
trouble.
It's the
But
new scarf.
I found out that we probably, I'm thinking after this town, we're probably gonna have to find a mountain.
You know, that sounds about right.
I
I
like
hope
me a
you
mountain.
boys brought your mountain shoes.
Oh, you know I did.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So that's most of the information I found. What were you boys up to?
Oh, we played a little ditty.
Yeah.
Met a hippie lady.
Oh.
She gave us this card with this weird symbol on it.
We
turns
bought
out-
hats from a guy, and he knew
Oh,
what the
yeah.
card was.
Ooh, what was the card?
It's for an old, what was it, an inn?
This
Yeah.
But
closed down bar
it's
and
closed down because they got banned for having too many
Huh.
performances.
So I wonder why that lady gave you that symbol for that card then.
We should go
We'll
stake
probably
it
steal
out.
it.
scope that out while you're
What a
scoping
question.
out your thing. Oh.
Not your fault.
Oh, I need to blow my nose. Excuse me. That is a mess.
So, right about this time, Elhorre returns. She comes back in and she's like frantic, and she's like, "We have to pack up and go to another inn. Hurry!"
Okay.
Say no
So
more.
just start packing
There's
up.
guards like a block away.
Coming for us?
I think so.
Okay. We
I
put
think
everything.
they followed you from the. She's like, "Take off that halfling disguise. Let's go."
Okay.
Let's do it.
She's like, "Roll him up in that rug."
I'm keeping the disguise on.
Yeah, fine. She's like, "Get in the rug."
You're in the rug
Jump in
now.
the rug, get rolled up into
So-
the rug.
All right, so you get in the rug.
What if they just wrap me up like a baby?
Ramone's strong enough to carry you, so he carries you in the rug. Elhorre's like, listen, you need to go to the north side of the city. Olin's gonna meet there. There's a small inn, very quiet inn. Don't make any attention to yourselves. She goes, here's the keys. I already got you rooms. It's called the Moonwell.
Ah, all right. Let's get to the Moonwell.
Hide out there. Olin's gonna meet us there. I'll meet you there. But she's like, I gotta get out of here. So she opens the window and starts crawling out to the roof. You guys go down. You get to the main entrance, and you get outside and you kind of peek down the street and you see constables. Like there's a group of 6 constables coming. How do you leave?
Which way are they coming from?
They're coming. So they're like, here's the main street. Here's where you are. They're coming this way.
All right. Well,
So
we
you can
gotta
go
go
out
the
this
other
We gotta
way.
go that way.
Okay, so you guys get out. I'm gonna have you both make stealth checks. So you're gonna make a stealth check.
Well, does that roll still count?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, that's a 9.
14. Stealth. No.
I don't have that.
I
9.
don't have anything on stealth either.
Okay, so
14.
you kind of try to blend in with the crowd of people as they're walking. You guys get about a block and you kind of peek back and you notice that like the guards went to the inn. And they seem to be like, they seem to have gone into the inn. So you keep going, you kind of wind your way through the city. You get to like the north side of the city and you eventually track down this street where there's this small inn, very humble, like 2-story inn. You go in, you like nod at the innkeeper, you show him the key and he nods. You guys go upstairs and you get into this room and there's like 4 beds, like bunks.
You unroll Caedmon.
You unroll Caedmon, who by now, like most of your disguise, you've like sweated off because you were like extraordinarily hot rolled out into this rug. But you made it. A few hours go by as you guys are hiding out, and you hear a key going into your door, and the door opens, and Elhorre comes in, and behind Elhorre is Olin.
You old son of a bitch.
Now, you guys have never met this guy, so
This
when
man
you
is
see
the heck is this
when
guy?
you see Elhorre come in, you see this guy standing behind Elhorre, who's looks kind of like a human, but with like very pale skin, and he has like long hair, and he's got like a hood and this like dark cloak on, and he has this like a scythe, like Grim Reaper scythe, and it's like
Wait,
encrusted
do you look
with
like Snape?
symbols.
I hope
that
not.
who you
I
are?
don't.
Does
I
he
don't
look
want
like
to look
Snape?
like Snape.
No, he's better looking than Snape.
Okay.
Yes, that's all.
All right, so you go into this room, and like Elhorre closes the door behind you. You see Caedmon like pulling off like putty from his nose and like all these other like makeup effects and stuff as he's like, you know, like fluffing up his mustache again and twisting the ends. And then you see these 2 humans who Elhorre mentioned like are these brothers that Caedmon knows.
You must be Ramone and Randy.
We're those dudes.
Who are you?
I'm Olin, a friend of Caedmon and Elhorre.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you guys.
Elhorre is like, I'm gonna go look out to make sure no one's downstairs. She sneaks out the door. And goes,
Scaredy cat. Because she's a cat.
that's pretty good.
Thanks.
All right, so you
working
guys
on
are
that
in
one.
the room together, and there's like a small table with some chairs. So you sit down, share what you are going to share to Caedmon and them.
Yeah, what's the skinny?
I'm gonna do a quick history check on what I found out.
Okay.
What is my history is? 15.
Okay, so you remember in your research that you believe that there might be a number of people who survived the original Sundering.
So when New Wolf Oatmai was split from Arakazine,
Which is an
Oh,
ancient
yeah.
continent that we used to occupy this world.
many people died, and that was like thousands of years ago.
So
All right. it's
right
been a
off the
minute.
bat, this is news to you guys. Like, he's talking about New Ophomi, the continent on which you live and have grown up, and is now saying that it was once a part of another continent, which you've never heard before.
What?
Many thousand years ago. And when that happened, a lot of people died, but not all of them. And like a handful of them, about a little less than 10, are still, we think, are still walking around.
Which would make them
Are-
possibly 3,000 years old.
Yeah.
Well,
May that
pretty
be
old.
magical or like just them being whatever they are. And I think the president of this place, the king, might be one of those guys.
Oh.
And if my understanding is right, he probably does not like what we're doing
Probably not.
because we are trying to get all the things that he wants.
We need them too.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
We could just share, man.
That's not how it works. So, yeah, we're in some trouble.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, Olin, likewise, doesn't know about what you discovered. And neither of them know about what you guys did during the day.
Oh no,
Wait,
they,
who
they
you
already
met?
they already told us.
Oh, okay. So you told him about the
Yeah.
Yeah.
the dancer?
About the
Yeah.
card.
Bill, when a long time ago when you told me about the crystals, the white, the air one, the breath of them, all I have written is last. Do I remember why I wrote last?
Because that's the one that you know the least about. Because that's the one that they are looking for, the crystal that they're looking for, that's called the breath of Vem, is the one that nobody knows anything about. All the other crystals, there's like rumors about them, or like some of them are even known to be like, yes, that's in the treasury of such and such kingdom. But like the breath of Vem is one that like nobody seems to know anything about.
So I went to the library today, as I often do, and
Studious.
very studious. And I came across some literature on Vem. To consult my notes. I believe that the breath of Vem is located somewhere in either a mountain or like a hill, because that's where most of her temples were like located. And so if there were to still be a temple somewhere where this was held, it's probably in a mountain. And I know this because I found an interesting picture of her like flying over a mountain, and I have a pretty good hunch about it. In addition, this old guy at the library was doing like research on Vem, which was suspicious. And I also learned from a source that a lot of people have been doing research on Vem at the library. But he had a lot of information down. He also had a map with areas pinned and pointed to, which makes me believe that he is probably on the same page we are, and if we could beat him to the punch, it's probably a smart idea.
Sounds like there's a lot of people on the same page as we are.
Yeah, unfortunately. I wonder why that is as well. Do you think it
It's-
could have something to do with
I
the
think
people
it's
that
those,
you speak with?
Yeah, it's those that I speak with. It's those guys that survived, the people who survived who are looking for the crystals.
How many are there, though? Because it seemed like recently, according to the source, like a lot of people have just been like checking out.
So I have
Stuff.
no, I think it's less than 10. It's not a lot.
Do you want
Well,
to ask?
I think
Do you
there
wanna,
were
like ask?
I don't know if that's how it works.
Okay, that's fair. I did a little eye roll back because he, you know how he.
Yeah, contacting his patron.
Yeah.
But I think the Finoops, the ones that we like banished, I think they might have been
Okay,
those-
on the same
some of those
page,
people.
right.
And we still have no idea what
ooh,
they're all about.
I
where
also
they are,
need
or anything about them.
the disguise masters to make me a new disguise so that I could meet my source that I talked to earlier at the Horny Toad, which of course is right across the street from the Chastised Frog, which you know, according to the large.
You have no idea what he's talking about. But that's not uncommon with Caedmon.
It's part of the sex amphibian franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Horny toad, chastised frog, the asexual salamander. There's
Jimmy
like
John's,
a whole
you know.
Jimmy John's.
All right.
Master
The
So,
whole franchise.
As you guys are
like
sharing
Pepsi.
these things,
Pepsi
Lori
Cola.
comes back and she's like, everything seems to be okay. It's quiet
Alright.
outside. She goes, are you still going to meet up with this Maxine?
Yes.
We're gonna have to make him some disguises.
What if they got me stilts and made me like a real boy?
Can we make him a real boy?
Let's make him some.
Wait, what if they dress me up like a child? Can I be like a human child?
You could try.
Wait, what? We can't shave the mustache though. Whatever happens, that's imperative. That the mustache stays.
She's like, I have an idea. What if you pretend to be a human child who's wearing a mask? Like a jester.
Would I know if that's common?
It's not uncommon. You
Okay.
know that like wealthy people often have like jesters.
Okay.
She's like, let me run down to the market really quick. I'll be right back. She slinks out. Like
They start making me into a human boy,
Yeah.
right?
About an hour, she comes back and basically makes you into a jester. Either a human boy or a halfling, not sure, but basically has like this little mask and like a hat with bells on it and like different colored like fragments of whatever cloth she could find. So you look like a silly jester.
Okay.
A real
Okay.
boy.
A real boy.
Yeah.
That's
So,
what Caedmon always wanted to be.
I just wanted to be
so
normal size.
Olin, are you going to go with them to the Horny Toad?
They're not
No.
coming with me.
Oh,
No, because she's not happy. I already lied to her about Ramone and Randy.
are you guys not going to go with Caedmon?
We should just go anyways.
Do you want to go there? Or do you want
She's
to go
not mad at
scope
me,
out
she's
the
mad
place
at
with
you.
The card.
Oh, you should go there, and I'll go to the place with the card.
I should go with Caedmon.
No, that's definitely not what he should do,
Confront
Randy.
Maxine about what you did.
And are you staying at the inn or are you going with Caedmon?
All right, guys, listen. I'm gonna put it this way. I don't know how she feels about me still, but on the off chance that I acquire the information and we still have like extra time to like, hang about. I don't know if I like want you guys there because I kind of have a thing for librarians.
Hear what this dwarf is saying to us right now?
I do. I'm hurt.
That's right. Sorry.
Caedmon's always been kind of
You
an
dressed
asshole.
up like a jester.
Yeah, a little bit.
Dress up like a jester.
That adds up.
There's
I
a
don't know why you guys are
3-foot tall
surprised.
jester telling you what's up right now.
All right, fine. Take it yourself.
I
We'll go hit the.
Caedmon,
you're-
what happens when you
the-
get there
the
and you're
moon
dressed
eagle.
up as a jester,
She's gonna be into it.
and then you
You
take
forget
off
I
your-
have +7 persuasion, Owen.
You look like a child. You take off your mask and you have a mustache.
You look like Snape.
I don't look like Snape.
Okay, Snape.
So you're going to go to meet up with Maxine at the Horny Toad.
right.
So you head out. You guys are going to go to the Moon Eagle.
Moon Eagle Bar.
Okay. Where are you staying at the inn with Lori or are you going with any of them?
Swear to God, Owen.
I'm gonna go with them, but I'm gonna follow Tony.
Okay. All right, good. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go to you guys first.
All right.
You guys go, and it's actually in the Northern District. So you guys make your way from the small inn, and you're heading down the street, and you see, like, kind of at the end of the block, like a 4-story building. It's much bigger, and it's on like 2 lots. It's a huge building. And you could see as you get closer that like it's dark around that building. Like there's other buildings on the block that have like an oil lantern or like torches, but like this building's dark. And as you get even closer, you notice that the windows and doors are boarded up.
That's probably the place.
And
Yeah.
you see that there's an old sign. It's like very dirty and dusty, like it hasn't been maintained. And you look at the piece of paper, and on that piece of paper is that same sign, like carved into the wood of like a moon and an eagle.
Sorry, I'm gonna have Jaquan follow them
Okay.
too.
All right. So
All
you
right.
guys get to this building, and there are 3 different entrances, all of which are boarded up.
All right, Ramone and Jaquan, let's break and enter.
Let's do it.
Okay, so
Oh,
do you find...
you guys have no idea.
Yeah, he's
Jaquan is there.
invisible.
He's invisible.
Oh, Jaquan's in.
I have,
an
I have like
invisible
a
suit.
Ramone and not Jaquan.
He's an invisible little dragon.
that
Can he help us if he needs?
he can like telepathically talk with me at any
Oh, that's
time.
cool.
So
That's good. That's good.
if you guys are in trouble, I'll know.
So you guys pick like a door on the side so it's not as obvious, and you figure if you like make a strength check, you could pry off the wood pretty easily.
All right.
All right, Ramone, you're the strong dude.
I will do that. Oh, 2, but 18 plus 7. Right?
Yeah. So with your athletics, you easily pry it off. You're like,
Okay.
Look at that athleticism. All right.
Now it is dark inside, so you guys will have to, because you're humans, you can't see in the dark. You have to have something to see.
Does anybody have like?
You both have like flint and steel and torches, so you can make.
Let's light a torch.
All right. You light up a torch. After a couple minutes, you have a torch and you see the inside of this building. And you go through this short hallway, and it opens up into this huge ballroom. Like, there's a massive stage. You're like, this is the kind of stage that could have like an actual, like a play, like a full theatrical production. And there's even like an orchestra pit, like in front of it. And then there's like all these tables and chairs, and like they're all like, there's like linens thrown all over them. Like, the place is obviously closed, right? The bar there's like 2 bars along the back walls, and they look like beautifully carved, like mahogany bar with, but again, like the shelves where the bottles of stuff would be are all empty and like covered in dust. So the place looks like it hasn't been open in quite a while.
All right. Should we explore more? Or let's.
Yeah.
You want to
let's
like
around a
explore
little
around
bit
the
more.
building?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay.
Start like tapping.
I'm gonna have
Press
each
on,
one of
yeah.
you guys make an investigation check. So you're gonna kind of be like scouting around the building, investigating.
18.
15.
Good enough.
All right.
All right. You notice as you
Detectives.
guys kind of explore the main ballroom, it pretty much fits the look and the description of a place that's been boarded up and closed for a while. However, you notice that there's like a door that leads to the backstage area, and you go back there and you see like set pieces. You even see some like instruments, like percussion instruments, and a few things that are like, which have like cloth thrown over them, and everything is very dusty. But you notice there's a set of stairs backstage that lead down into like what looks like a basement. And as you're approaching, you actually hear ever so slightly from the basement, you hear like the strumming of strings, like
All
a tune being played.
Let's roll down to the
Head on
basement.
down there.
You guys go down, and by the flicker of your torchlight as you get down to the basement, you notice that it's not like a very finished looking space. It's all like stone, like foundation block stone, and then like brick stonework. And there's like shelves with bottles of wine, and there's like shelves that have like casks of different ales and whatnot. It looks like kind of a storage space. And across the room, just barely visible through like the distance of 30 feet from your torchlight, you could see the red-haired woman. She's sitting on like a comfortable, kind of like a couch, and she's sitting playing her lute. And you notice she looks up at you guys. Doesn't seem concerned. She still has that kind of like faraway look. And she's playing, and she's like, "I'm glad you made it."
All right. Go up to her.
Yeah.
So we asked her, well, what's your name?
You can call me Matronus.
Matronus. That's going to be a tough one to remember. All right.
She stops playing and she sets her lute down, and she's like, "I used to play here quite often, but the monarchy banished performance and any sort of music or performance art.
But why?
Well, some say that it had to do with the kingdom not wanting traveling performers coming through the capital, but I believe that it is really more of an effort to stifle the voice of a generation which has grown weary of the kingdom and how they've ruled things for so long.
How long has music been illegal in this place?
Just a few years now.
Just started?
But I think that it's part of the growing paranoia of the king.
Well, who's the king?
Chertingi Malakuni.
Oh, Tertingi.
Of course.
And what's his deal?
Oh, officially?
Yeah. That's
He's
official
the
deal.
32nd king.
And why are
of the great
people
kingdom of
concerned about
Malakun.
him?
Well, I don't think people are concerned about him as much as he is about people. He's
Ah,
very paranoid.
paranoid. Well,
A
he
few
sounds-
decades ago, he began exiling people who disagreed with his rule.
Mm.
And then, maybe 10 years ago, instead of publicly exiling them, sometimes those people would just disappear.
Ah.
This place, like a few others throughout the kingdom, were a refuge for people who could speak freely and voice their concerns about life here.
Ah. So why did you stay and keep playing music instead of just getting out of here?
They won't try to kill me
Why's that?
because I know things about the kingdom and about this place.
What kind of things?
Chertingi Malakuni used to come here. Of course, he was always in disguise, but he used to love performance. He used to love art. But as I said, word came to him that there were those who were speaking out against him. Instead of killing them, he exiled them. But this place stayed open, and eventually his paranoia drove him to close it down.
Ah.
But that's not to say that I've been banished or exiled. I just have to be more careful now.
Ah.
He knows who I am, but then again, he also knows that I know who he is.
How do you know him?
Well, let's just say that I'm older than I look.
How old are
The
you?
people.
I remember a time before the 32nd king.
Okay.
That's a Rakazine
Yeah,
time,
so-
by the way.
I remember the first king.
All right. So we're dealing
And
with.
although most people believe that there's a family likeness in the monarchy, I know the truth.
What's the truth?
There have not been 32 kings.
There's only been one.
There's only ever been one king.
Oh.
And he has gone by different names. Now he goes by Chertingi Malakuni, but he is the first king.
The king is thousands of years old. Huh. So he's
And
probably.
perhaps more importantly, he's missing.
He's missing.
Boom, we killed the king.
Where did he go? Who
Well,
took him?
No one knows for sure. He left the city a few months ago.
Where was he headed?
No one knows that for sure either.
Yeah, someone else had that theory.
He's
Hey,
going to the
shh,
mountain.
talk over.
Sorry.
He's going to the mountain, dude.
By my guess, he had headed east, but no one knows for certain. However, while the monarchy and the administrators of the monarchy have claimed that he has returned, he has
He's
not been
still
seen in
gone.
public
Oh, yeah, that.
in several weeks.
Well, that's
I wish I was here
That's
so I
pretty
could
weird.
solve the book and just start, like, hitting her with it.
so.
She could probably go
I think that's all the info we need.
You are superb performers.
You as
Oh,
well.
You as well.
I use my side.
I wonder if you're staying in the capital or leaving. I was thinking about going to the city of Barat Laut to the north of the capital. Perhaps you'd like to accompany me there. The rules are far less enforced in Barat Laut.
We're down.
Yeah.
Good. When you are ready to leave the city, come find me. I'll be here.
Sounds good.
Oh, one more thing. She goes over to a shelf, like a liquor shelf, and she starts pushing it, and it slides. And she goes, use that entrance instead of pulling the boards down.
Secret.
So
passage.
you see like stone stairs that lead up to like a trapdoor. She
Ah.
goes, it'll put you out in the backyard near the old barn.
Oh.
You can come and go that way.
Right on.
And also make sure you extinguish your torch before you leave. I wouldn't want anybody seeing people snooping around the building.
All right, so we thank her
Yeah.
and head out the trap door, but put the
Put out the
torches out
torch.
before we leave.
All right. You guys go up, you push this trap door open, and you're in like a little shed. Close the trap door, you open the door to the shed, you look around. Seems empty. You guys leave, kind of head out a circuitous way. Smash cut. Caedmon, you arrive at the Horny Toad. But before that, make a perception check. You make a stealth check.
Against Caedmon?
Yes.
15.
In the cup I trust. 14 plus. What am I looking for?
Perception.
Perception.
I almost got away with it too.
But where's my perception?
It's under P for perception.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking.
It's above
Oh
performance.
yeah, it's right about. So I have 15.
What'd you have?
15.
You notice nothing. You're on your way. You're a man on a mission. You're to meet up with a beautiful blonde half elf, and you get to the Horny Toad. There's a number of people
They always
there.
pit us against
There's
each
lots
other.
of
You know that, right?
lots of chatting and talking and blah 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 blah, but no music. But you notice that you see Maxine at a table, and you see her. She's not wearing.
The toad isn't the only thing
She's
that's
not
funny.
wearing the white robe with the librarian robes. She's actually wearing a really nice outfit. Like she's got like a corset on with like a white blouse.
So I can tell that she's dressed up.
Yeah, she's
to
got
see
like
me.
brown
Okay.
leather
Cool.
breeches and like high leather boots. And she stands up and she's like, she motions for you to come over.
Wait, she knows it's me?
Yeah.
No, she doesn't.
He's in a jester outfit.
No, actually she doesn't. You're right.
So she's sitting there.
You notice she's sitting there, she's like looking around, tapping her nails. Like a serving girl comes by and she like nods for another ale, pours out another ale. She's just waiting.
So I walk over and I sit down and I go, mind if I told you a couple jokes?
She's like, it's about time you got here.
Sorry, ran into some.
She's like, I like your new disguise. It fits you.
Wait a
So
minute. Trust no one. Okay, so while she's talking, I just want to have a dart ready.
okay, you have a dart.
Just
ready.
I have a dart. I'm just like holding it in my back pocket.
So
just ready
she
to
goes,
just go.
I have
Me
some
dart,
interesting
you know.
news.
Me darts me.
Do tell.
I found out what Professor Lemoyne is doing. And I'm kind of curious even more so now that you're interested in the same stuff.
Do tell. Please go on.
The professor is working on this research project on behalf of the crown.
Oh,
He's
this
working
crown?
for the monarchy.
You know, that's.
The Kingdom of Malakun, someone in the Kingdom of Malakun commissioned him to do this research project.
Interesting.
And
How long
apparently-
ago would you say that this was commissioned?
6 months ago,
How long ago were we at the other place?
like a month and a half.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I guess he's been doing this research for a while and he's had meetings.
How recent were the meetings?
Well, he hasn't had one recently,
About how recent was the last meeting?
about 3 weeks ago. But he's continuing to do his research.
And this last meeting was with the Crown?
Yeah, I don't know who. I wasn't able to find that out. But he actually he leaves the library to go to these meetings.
He
And
leaves the library?
He always brings his journal. He's never left his journal.
Interesting.
So, are you going to level with me?
Sure.
Why are you interested in the same content that Professor Lemoyne is researching for the Crown?
Well, you see, I was walking about my old, destroyed gnome village, as you know, trying to find any vague memory of what used to be there when suddenly I had been taking some gnome mushrooms, as you stated previously. And
Yes, of course.
I felt a tickle on my neck, and then another tickle, and then a very strong tickle, and I noticed the wind seemed to be poking at me. bits and bits here and there, until finally I followed it into an old cave. And I walked into the cave, and a little old gnome named Waka Waka sat there waiting for me. And I approached him, and he said, you must find the breath of them. You must. And so now I walk about in search of anything I can find on them.
She seems to totally believe you. She's like, are you sure this was not some kind of vision or dream? Was it real?
Who's to say we're not all real? What is real? Just
Well,
you and me.
What you
It's
just
here.
said is odd.
Two
because
lost souls swimming in a fishbowl.
There was a
year after
very
year.
strange thing about what you just said. That's why I asked if it was a vision of some kind from the gods.
Oh, wow. Why? What's so weird about
You
it?
mentioned the breath of Vem.
Does that
I
name
saw
have
that
significance to you?
phrase written in Professor Lemoyne's journal. That's
That's
why
so
it struck
surprising
me
to me.
that you said that, because I saw that written in his journal. Roll insight.
Am I
Yeah,
hearing
I have
any
a-
of this or like?
I have a
where
feeling
am-
she's
where
playing.
am
You're
I
gonna
on-
make a
I'm not gonna
perception
give her
check.
a real.
now.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it.
2.
Oh, God. Nice
So
one.
the problem is,
Followed me all the way there.
you found a position in the inn where you can like keep an eye on him, and you see this woman that he's speaking to, but like the like ambient noise of people having conversations is such that you're like straining to hear. You feel that if you had Jaquan over there, you could easily relay this.
Does Jaquan
Meanwhile,
know-
Jaquan tells you that like he's gone to this old abandoned like ballroom, and that the brothers are talking to a person.
Do I get any information on what that person said?
Yes, he describes he relayed everything that they discussed. So Jaquan relays everything that they discussed. And Jaquan also tells you that the woman appears to be a human with like vibrant red hair. She has a scar on one cheek, and she's missing a chunk of her forefinger. Wait, no, it's not her. Yeah. She's missing
What
a
was her
chunk
name?
of her left-handed forefinger.
What was her
And
name?
you heard her tell
No
them
idea.
you heard her tell
Miraculous.
them that her name was Matronus.
Close enough.
Matronus.
What Jaquan tells you though is that she is more than just a human, that she has a strange aura. He said that the aura
real like
reminds
aura.
me somewhat of yours, Master.
Like a warlock aura?
It's real
She has a
Angora.
strange aura. It reminds me of your aura in a way, Master.
Bet she's a patron. I'm not a patron.
A celestial,
that's what I'm
like a
saying.
celestial sort of aura.
Okay.
Yeah.
So meanwhile,
Deepa?
Jaquan regales you with all this stuff.
Am I getting Deepa vibes?
No,
Did you boys notice a strange amount of reverb
So,
when she talks for no
you,
reason?
Oh, yeah,
Maxine
dude,
is
she had it
talking
cranked up
with you,
to
and
10.
she's talking with you about this whole like phrase, and she said, it's so funny that I remember seeing that breath of them written in his
Yeah,
journal.
that's so odd.
She's like, I can't help but wonder. It's very odd, but His Royal Majesty left the capital a few weeks ago.
No.
And supposedly,
Was this before or after his last meeting?
well, it would have been after, but supposedly he
okay.
returned last week, but no one's seen him in public.
Yeah, that's so weird. God, I wish I knew more about that, and I don't. But all I know is that
Make a deception check.
13.
She seems to believe you. She's like, it's just odd that you had this experience.
The gods work in such mysterious ways.
So after that, you decided to come here
Yes, well,
from Kabul Kailash. You came to the Great Kingdom to research them.
yeah, well, that and I had seen in another like vision coming here, right?
More lies.
It said that there's a girl from your past waiting for you, and part of your journey is that you should go and like flirt with this girl from your past. And I was like, what? Them? That's so nuts. Like, there's no way I'm just gonna run into a girl from my past. Oh, darn it! Wait, hold on. I gotta make another roll to see if this vision thing works.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
All right.
Come on.
She's blushing, but she's like,
No, wait. So you
Definitely
also had a
smarter than
19. Wait, what am I rolling? Is
Yours
this
is better than
perception
hers.
or dissuasion? Okay.
so she's like, you know you're dressed like a jester, right?
I didn't say it was you. Come on, don't be ridiculous. No one said that. It's just part of the weird vamp. It's just the will of the gods, I guess, man. It's just so crazy. You know?
Caedmon, I have something to confess. I heard a rumor.
I'm not
that-
laughing in the game. I'm serious.
That yesterday there were a group of musicians who performed in public,
It's so weird.
and the constables are after them. I've seen wanted posters,
So
and
crazy.
I have to tell you that the depictions in those wanted posters looked an awful lot like Ramone and Randy.
Well, you know how they are with humans. They just think all humans look the same. So, you know, you just slap some
She's
hair.
like, be honest with me, Caedmon. Are they here?
No.
I haven't talked to Ramone since, well, you know. She like looks down.
Right. Ramone's an asshole. I don't know how to tell you this. Like, you did that to yourself, okay?
She seems like
She knows. She
a
knows
little
I'm
bit
right.
wistful, like a little bit sad. She's like, well, listen.
All I know is the last time I saw Ramone, he said, "Ah, you evil person! I bet you'll never sleep with anyone I've slept with." Ah. And I swore that day I would prove him wrong. But you know, who's to say, really? You know.
You slept with Maxine?
I don't know.
So, how important is it that you find this stuff about them?
It's just been my passion, my life. I mean, without it, I'd have no purpose. But I mean, that's pretty much it.
And
That's-
what will you do when you find it? Are you going to leave the capital?
Can't tell you that, I'm afraid. It's all part of the vision, God's plan.
Well, I have a vision too.
Uh-oh. Are you standing by still? He's watching this, right? Wait,
I
before
wanna-
she
I wanna
speaks, I
get
want to roll
Jaquan.
perception.
I want Jaquan
And
over here. too.
I want to try to notice Owen with perception. Yeah.
Okay.
What?
You don't.
Okay.
I think I know a way to get that journal from Professor Lemoyne,
Oh, yeah?
but it's very risky. And I don't want to take all the risk on myself.
I want to roll insight. 18 plus 1, 19.
Do you feel like she is 100% telling you the truth?
It doesn't feel like a trap.
No.
Okay.
Need her away.
Caedmon, I know you like making jokes, but this is very serious. If I were to get caught with the professor's journal, it could be a death sentence. And I would have to know that I would have allies who can get me out of the city.
We'll get you out of the city.
Well, I wouldn't be the one stealing it, but I know someone who could. But even for commissioning someone to steal it, I would need certain assurances.
How?
And
What
while
makes
I
this
know
person?
you think you're a good fighter, I would feel a lot more comfortable if I knew that you had people who we could count on.
We do.
Am
If
I
push
hearing
came to
any of
shove.
this?
Now you are, because Jaquan's back. So he's floating over there, relaying everything telepathically to you.
He has
I
the.
don't know what I don't.
You're able to whisper, aren't you? No, that's just me.
No.
Okay. So I'm gonna.
In a
I'm-
manner of speaking, you could tell Jaquan to whisper something to Caedmon.
Yeah. I'm gonna have Jaquan say Olin can steal it.
Olin You hear a voice next to you. You've heard this voice before.
So the first thing I do is I'm like,
It's in your head.
Must have been a fly, and I just kind of like swat in the air around
Yeah,
me, and I'm
nothing
like,
happened.
kind of just like, I'm just like, we think we have I do have allies in this town, and I think it might be easier if I had one of my allies try to steal it instead of trusting and commissioning another person.
Do you know a thief who also knows magic and how to get around magical wards?
Yes.
Oh, wait, no. I don't know. I don't know wards.
I don't know what words are. I just know that he can speak
because
to
I do. Her price isn't cheap, but she's one of the best.
What's her name?
Her name's Kat. And she's really good at what she does.
How much does she charge?
Well, I haven't asked her about it yet, but stealing the journal from the head research librarian at the library in the capital is probably not going to be cheap. I would say we're talking in the neighborhood of hundreds of gold in the form of platinum or gems,
Welp.
which I happen to have.
You'd be willing to help us?
Finally. And by us, you do mean the Pallibard brothers. She smiles. She's like, I knew those wanted posters were them.
Can't forget Ramone's face, can you?
No.
Yeah, he's a looker.
So, why don't we make an arrangement? Let's get all parties involved together for a meeting.
I want to roll insight on that. Damn it.
She goes, you bring your allies. I'll reach out to Kat.
Wait, you roll insight on this.
Yeah, you can roll insight.
Okay.
Based on what you're hearing from Jaquan
13.
and
Wait,
like her
what's your
facial expressions and her body language.
Yeah, 0.
So what's the total?
13.
Yeah. You feel like she's being truthful. Like you're just kind of studying her facial expressions, her body language, and Jaquan's relaying the actual words. She's like, why don't we do this? I will set up a meeting. Kat will tell us the location. We will meet with Kat. We'll tell her what it is that we want, and she'll give us a price.
Bet. Where would
She
you like
shakes
to
your
meet?
hand. She's like, I don't know.
I do one of those little
Kat
things.
will let us know.
See, I'm doing it to Bill, and I was
Why
like,
don't
no.
you meet back? We should meet here tomorrow night, so as not to raise any suspicion. I will go to work like a normal day tomorrow at the library. You and the brothers lay low. Meet me back here tomorrow night. And by then I should have word from Kat where she wants to meet.
Okay. Do a little. Wait, is my hair visible from the costume?
No, because you have the jester hat with the bells on it.
Okay. Would it be unwise to take off the hat for a moment?
No.
Take it off. See you tomorrow, Maxine.
She smiles. She leaves a few coins on the table. She gets up and she leaves.
When she leaves, I'm gonna go sit down at
Okay.
the table with Caedmon.
All right.
I wouldn't make yourself visible yet, though. I would just,
Oh,
or
he's
you-
visible.
Oh, he's visible?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I'm
I
person.
forgot.
So, trust her?
About as much as I trust you, little eavesdropping little Snape weasel. But, yeah, I trust her a fair amount. She didn't seem like she was lying to me. How about you, Jaquan?
Well, Jaquan's on my shoulder, so you're just looking
Okay.
at
I'm just staring up at nothing.
I don't know. Jaquan was over at the abandoned bar with the Pallibards, and we learned a lot of information about the king.
Interesting.
I think he's one of the 10.
Is he the blonde elf that we got rid of due to the fact that I just talked to this lady and she's saying that other elf hasn't really been around.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, this would.
But if he's back, that's bad news.
Yeah,
for us.
That's some really bad news because we have not just one Finu, but Finipe.
But the fact that I think magic had a big thing to do with his appearance, and I think the fact that nobody has seen him, I think there's something up with him magically that isn't allowing him to do what he could if he's actually back.
Well, and that's of course assuming that like that isn't just a trap to lure us out. You know, like, oh, he's been missing. We let our guard down. And
well, he's been missing ever since we banished him.
That's what I'm saying. But he knows. Well, by this point, I feel like he probably knows. I don't like that at all. He probably likes that we're in town. I would assume he knows, as he seems to know everything. Which also would tell me that if he's not back in town, and perhaps there is another godly-like elf that has come back to town that would be enough to fool the masses, it's probably the blonde, what was her name, Trixie? It's probably Trixie, and that's not good either, because she's pretty bad.
I hate Trixie.
Probably a little rock gnome running around, too.
What was his name?
Stupid.
Willie Stroker.
Willie Stroker.
He was a carpenter.
That bastard.
Oh, yeah,
He knew how to work wood.
Willie's wood.
Yeah.
Right? Does he do anything for the horny frog?
You don't
And
know.
any of Willie Wood?
You haven't seen
the horny frog?
None of you guys have seen nor heard from
Either of them since we saw him run away after we didn't bring him the stuff.
since the banishment and the battle.
Oh yeah, remember we like fought him again or something in the woods?
Yeah, no, we didn't find him.
He was dropping on us, and then we like forced him to join us. Or no, yeah, and then he said, "There's a lot of people gonna come and kill us if we stay."
Yep.
So we left.
As far as you know, Willie and Trixie abandoned their loyalty to the blonde Fino.
But what
once
we
you guys
don't know
banished him.
is that we said that we weren't going to bring the orb to him, and then we saw them at the place waiting for us with like guards or something.
Yeah, you saw them
ready to ambush
basically
us.
getting ready to leave.
No, we saw them getting ready to ambush us for the artifact. Do you remember that?
We drop off the artifact, and then we're like exempt from the law, or we stay fugitives and run away with it.
Right, and then
That's
they
what
were
we
waiting
did. We
for us,
ran
and they
away
had
with it.
like guards or something. Remember? Because
Yeah.
we were like, let's not go. Actually, sorry. You guys all wanted to go. I said, let's not go. Because I didn't like Willie, because he's a rock gnome. And you guys were like, oh, you're being paranoid. And then we didn't go. Sent Jaquan, and Jaquan was like, oh, yeah, they were going to ambush you guys. And everyone was like, oh, Caedmon was right. If I remember, that's exactly how
Oh,
it
we
went.
all wanted to run away.
No, I wanted to run away.
Remembering things with Tony.
That's right.
All right.
How do you remember that?
And so, my friends,
Because I remember being
you
right.
gather these conversations together. You head back to your inn. The brothers Ramone and Randy have returned, and you share what you've learned collectively about both Matronus.
Do we
and-
share it as Owen just share for the both of us? Since he already
Well,
knows, since he...
I mean, basically, you guys,
Follow.
as you gather back, have the opportunity, and I would assume you fill Elhorre in on this information,
Yeah.
so she knows. So basically, you guys explain like your encounter with Matronus and the vibes that you guys got.
Does she say
and the
anything when we
info.
say cat? And we're like, yeah, the lady's name is Cat. She's a thief. Doesn't ring any bells with her?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to see.
So you guys kind of share that information, and then you share with them, presumably, and with Elhorre about what you discussed with Maxine.
Okay.
The plan being that you guys would lay low, and the following night you'd meet up with Maxine and find out where the meetup's going to be with Kat. And that is where we will end this episode of the Bard Odyssey. Thank you so much for your support, for watching, liking, subscribing. Don't forget to click that like button
Bless you.
and the little bell notifications, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Bard Odyssey. Pow!
why we got to try. We got to break and have some fun. Oh, I'm not trained, not play this game, and I won't stop until I'm done. But what I really want to know is, are you gonna go my way? And I got to know, yeah.
Are we ready to get started?
Yeah. Do you enjoy the content on this channel? Then support Bill Allen on Patreon. Get access to exclusive patron content. You too can be a part of the Bill Allen World Patreon community. Join us today